the big border role being played by China through loans to Nigeria and some other African countries may have placed the Asian country in a tight corner. According to researchers of Chatham House, which Chinese lending to Africa has created a dilemma where China will struggle to recoup our money while maintaining good image as a friend to developing nations. Africa's external debt rose fivefold to 696 billion dollars between 2000 and 2020, with China lenders accounting for 12% of that, according to a new report by London-based think tank. Specifically, Nigeria's external debt owed to China accounts for 83.57% of its total bilateral debt as of June 30th, 2020, totaling $3.9 billion, a 12.7% increase from $3.5 billion in the same period last year. According to data from the Debt Management Office, Bloomberg reported that the evolving debt dynamics with Beijing, whose lending is focused on long-term infrastructure projects, threatening to push reluctant governments into the arms of the International Monetary Fund (IMF) and World Bank for balance of payment support, while Chinese lending to Africa has been criticized by the US and other Western nations as opaque and designed to seize African assets offered as collateral. The Chatham House researchers say this is not the case, far from a sophisticated strategy to expropriate African assets. Profligate Chinese lending in the early phases may have created a debt trap for China, deeply entangling it with order rates and increasingly assertive African partners. The researcher said China is a large creditor to Zambia, for example, which has defaulted on its debt. It also made loans to other African nations struggling to meet their debt obligations, including Angola, Ethiopia, Kenya, and the Congo Republic. The economic fallout from pandemic and Russia's invasions of Ukraine has undermined the ability of many African nations to service their sovereign debts. The continent is heading towards a repayment crisis with 22 of 54 nations at risk of so-called debt distress, according to World Bank and International Monetary Fund criteria. China has been criticized for its perceived lack of engagement in the global effort to reduce developing nations' debt burdens. US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has said multiple times that Beijing has become the biggest obstacle to progress. Jules Fernandez, Under-Secretary for Economic Growth, Energy and the Environment at the US State Department, said in an interview that China needed to be more transparent about the debt owed to it by African nations. Concerned by many nations' inability to repay their loans, Chinese institutions have in recent years slashed the amount of credits they will extend to Africa. Well, Chatham House said the new Chinese loan to African governments fell from a 2016 pack of $28.4 billion to $8.2 billion in 2019 and just $1.9 billion in 2020 during the coronavirus pandemic, the researchers said. Well, with the way things are going, now that China is crying about the debt Nigeria is owing and ability and not being able to pay back. Of course, there's no big deal about it. So what happened to other African countries? They will just collect those things that, and they know that with the way we do things, our lifestyle will not be, they will not be able to pay. Buhari went to UN the other time, I think 2 months ago or last month or so, telling them that they should try to forgive us or to write off our debt. I don't think that is going to be possible. You are owing and borrowing. Is that the reason why you are borrowing? They can't write it off. The only thing they will do, just as Chinese has been doing to other countries, is just to take all those projects that you use in borrowing money that they did for you. So there's no big deal about it, and that's why, and that is exactly what they want to do. And what is Buhari's business? In less than how many months? It's going to less than 5 months. He's going to be out of office. So the rest people will continue from there. And meanwhile, he must have gained a lot because all this traveling that a Buhari has been going, they call them some kind of a Esther code or something. Because he's traveling, there's something like, at least let us even simplify it. Traveling allowances. If you go and check it, it's huge. So those are his own benefits. And coupled with the fact that those who are working under him, who have stolen enough money that meant supposed to be used for projects, they will share it into three. It is maybe just a 1 quarter that will go into projects, they will still not finish it, and those are substandard projects here and there. See the trend that they have been shouting. Tell me how much they are making from that, because all those projects are supposed to be paying the debt back in one way or the other, but that is not what we are experiencing in this country. Who are the people that will pay it? It is the same, you and I, in one way or the other. Not that anybody is coming to meet you to say, pay this, pay this, pay that, pay this, pay that. Eh? It is through this hardship that they are putting us. That is when how we are still going to be paying. That is how we are going to be paying. China should go and collect their money from Buhari. We don't know about that. Buhari is going to go. It is you, all of you who are supporting and defending them. Nobody is going to hold Buhari responsible. Another government that will come. It is not all these politicians that will feel it. It is you and I who are still supporting them, who do not know the right people. Especially, you look at is it Buhari? What does he know? Buhari has not even been giving lectures. Who has even invited? He doesn't even know what is happening. They will just read something for him. Ordinary to even speak like a layman, he can't even speak. They will just write some things for him. He will just go and deliver speech. He doesn't even understand what those things being given to him. He doesn't know what they mean at all. China, go and collect your money from whoever they gave it to. They should collect their money. Certainly not to Nigeria. Where is the money? Were they invited for loan? Africans are prodigal and lazy in thinking, depending on God to provide their daily needs instead of thinking critically to finding solutions to their problems. They are even collecting loans to build churches and mosques instead of infrastructural development. In fact, Africans are something else. I don't even want to use the word somebody is using here. It is evidently clear that China wants to annex African through borrowing to African nations. African countries lack the capacity to invest because they like ready-made, which are abundant in America, Europe, and Asia, and use their rich natural resources to pay back. The most unfortunate thing is that those resources are not renewable, which puts their future generations at risk.